How's it going, YouTube? Jimmy here again, the Rambling Idiot. So, anyways, last time we left off, we made the disc brakes, or not the disc brakes, but we made the brake calipers. So, is what we need to do now. Let's go ahead. Oh, that's right. Sorry. It's already compound. Compound. Yes, that is a new word, if you're wondering. Let's just rotate this 180. And then on the y-axis, we're going to rotate this 180. Then we're just going to move it into position. So, I'm going to frame in on that. Something probably right about here. Oh, wait, need to rotate. Whoa. Take just a little bit more right about here. So now we'll scale it down. Then this needs to come right about here. Move this out. Frame in on that. So, about right here. There we go. Now on the disc brake, probably wouldn't hurt to add one edge loop right here. And the reason why, because this way, whenever we smooth it out, it'll look kind of like that. I'm not really worried about doing it on both sides, just because you're never really going to see it. If you want to, you can. That's completely optional. Let me just show you what it would look like first. So by adding one extra edge loop, this is kind of what you have. As you can see, it does look a little bit more crisp, but like I said, it's completely optional. Up to you if you want to or not. Let me go ahead and scale this in just a little bit. There we go. So that's basically all there is to creating the brakes. As I said earlier, we're going to let's go ahead and Control G, Control Shift D, and we'll click on both of these, Control G, and then we'll hit Control D. Let's go ahead and center pivot, and we'll just move these forward to the front wheels. Right about over here. I'm going to rotate these around. I'm not going to scale them just yet because that would be kind of ridiculous. But what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and grab the rear disc. I'm going to hit Control G, Control Shift D, Control G, center pivot. I'm going to move both of these forward. So I'm just going to move them forward about right up to here. And once again, I'm just going to try and match these up with the center cap. So, about like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and scale these up. And I just screwed up. I'm going to scale these up about right here. Maybe down just a little bit. There we go. So, right here, I need to go ahead. I don't know if I have both those selected or not. No, I do not. There we go. Okay, so let's just go into Control G, and you hit center pivot. We're going to rotate this about right here. We're going to scale up, scale over. So that's what we're going to be left with. Let's go ahead and rotate it just a little bit. There we go. So that's the front. Easy. The next thing we needed to do, we could create the axles and everything for this. We definitely could. I don't think we will because a lot of that's already pretty well hidden. That's seriously not. No, it did not. Okay, it did that time. Alright, there we go. Next thing I need to do is actually need to scale these down, scale these in. Now I need to make that about right there. So that looks pretty well uniform. Alright, Control S. So all that's pretty well hidden. Don't have to worry about anything else there. Let's go ahead and start working on this piece right here. There is a little piece that curves over. We're going to go ahead and make that real quick, just because we can. And also, just now noticing this, let's go ahead and change this shape up just a little bit. Something about like that, I'm thinking. So now when we press 3, yeah, it looks better. Looks a little better. I'm happy with it. Alright, so for this right here, we're just going to create a cube. We're just going to scale it down. We're going to move it back right about here. Then we're just going to scale it across about there. Let's go ahead and add an edge loop right here. Come into face, delete all that nonsense. Let's come into vertex. I don't know why I say go into vertex, because all I'm going to be doing is just creating edge loops like this. But, you know, it's whatever. So then we'll come in here and we'll just start moving these in. I'm actually wanting them right about here. So something about like that. Oh, too much. We'll just move that. Move that. I'm just going to try and keep this line uniform all the way across. Nothing major or anything. I'll just move that right there. Object mode, Control G, Control Shift D, combine, edge. We'll just bridge these across. There we go. So now when we press 3, we should have this shape. I'm actually wanting the back part to have kind of a squared off shape, so to do that we'll just create a quick edge loop all the way back here, and that's all there is to it. So that's what we should have now. And as you can see, that does cut through. Let's go and see what this looks like smooth. So that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Are you happy with that? I'm happy with that. So the next thing, if you want, you can actually click on this up here. We can just select all these and then deselect those faces. We can actually just bring this down about like that, and then we can do the same thing with the middle right here and just bring that down. So we have this shape about like that. So when we press 3, we should have that. You can do that if you want. Completely optional, completely up to you, just like everything else. I'm not going to scold you for it. I'm thinking I'm going to go with that. So this way when I start adding the other components, this will hide just a little bit more. So let me go ahead and save it real quick. So what we need to do now is we actually need to start working on creating some of this back paneling, so this way none of this other stuff shows through. One thing I think that would be good is let's go ahead and select the lens for the for the cover or the headlamps. We're just going to hit Control D. We're going to go up here to Mesh Tools, and we're going to hit Reverse. Mesh Display, I mean. So now it's like no matter which angle you're looking at this from, it actually looks like a solid piece. And it'll just be a little bit easier and less nonsensy later on. So let's go ahead and save this scene. For the front right here, we're actually going to go ahead and start working on the radiator. Now, did I say we were going to use Photoshop in this tutorial? I don't remember if I did or not. I think this is the tutorial that said we're going to do it without using Photoshop. So basically, I'm going on the assumption here that you don't have Photoshop, you never will, you have no desire for it. So I'm going to stick with that assumption. It seems like a pretty safe assumption to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a plane, right about there. Doesn't matter where I create it, honestly. But rotate X will be -90. This one is specific because if you do it the other way, as you remember, you can't see anything. So I'm going to go up here and put it right about here. I know it's sticking through the hood. You have nothing to worry about. On the Translate X, that's going to be 0, and this is just going to come across here. And so right here, we're going to go into Vertex, or you can go into Edge. It doesn't matter. We're just going to bring it down. Probably right about here. Let's go ahead and click on these vertices, and we're just going to bring them in just a little bit. Probably something like that. The key to this is making sure it does not protrude through. So I'm thinking something like this should be sufficient. Let's go ahead and pull it back just a little bit. Right about there. Let's make it a little bit wider. Not that wide. There we go. Okay. So now this is going to cover a lot of this stuff back behind here. We're just going to take this, we're going to pull this down a little bit, probably right about here. We're going to go into Edge. We're going to select all these edges. We're going to hit Extrude. We're going to pull them back just a little bit. We're going to do Extrude again. We're going to do Extrude one more time. If you want to, you can do the fill hole, completely optional. So now when we go into object mode, if we hit Smooth, we still need to create the edge loops. Create an edge loop here, 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 and up here. There we go. So now we got that done. Let's go ahead and come in here into Vertex. Let's go ahead and just bring this up a little bit more. Make Make sure we don't have any extra vertices selected. Just going to bring this up right about here. So this is actually going to be the radiator. And we'll start adding more components as we continue on. But we're going to grab this object, we're going to hit Control D. We're going to move it down, probably right about here. We're just going to widen this out and put it right about here. Let's go ahead and just bring it forward. I think right there should be fine. There we go. So now we have that whole part covered. And yeah, there are still going to be some holes you'll be able to see through, but like I said, we'll add more components in later on to kind of cover all those up. So we will continue on with that, I promise. If you want, you can always just hit duplicate and come forward and make that a little smaller. Completely up to you, completely optional. Or you could do something like that. That would be fine. And this way it covers just about everything. So I think that's what we're going to stick with, is something like that. Let's go and hit Control S and save it. So now we're going to work on the frame. I am recording, right? Yeah, okay, good. I just started wondering that, like, wait, am I even recording, or am I just randomly talking to myself? I guess technically, even when I am recording, I'm still technically just randomly talking to myself, but yeah, it's fun. Okay, so that does not mesh up. We'll grab the edge right here, and we're going to pull this up right there. So we'll select this door over here and delete it. We'll select this door, Control G, Control Shift D. And we're going to have a lot of groups, so you know, I'm thinking let's go ahead and just select the whole vehicle, and we're going to go to Edit, Delete by Type, History, Edit, Delete by Type, Non-Deformer History. We're just going to press Control G. We're going to select all this as one gigantic group. Okay, so now we have all this selected as one group. Let's make sure that we have... I want to make sure all these say V. Well, the trim I don't care about, because the trim was just this one piece down here. So I'm not too worried about the trim. So now what I can do is, under these groups, I can just hit delete. So, and that way it's just one group right here, and it's all very neatly done. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. Yeah, it's kind of a weird shape, but you know what? Life happens. So, what do I want to do next? I probably want to do the frame next. Actually, I think the next thing I'm going to do is go Diet Cola. Alright, so the frame is actually going to be very simple. So let's just go straight into the side view. And we're just going to click on the polyplane. I'm actually going to create it right up to here, like this. Now, normally I would actually just start manipulating everything, but if I were to be in the side view, unless I zoom in on this, I hit vertex. It's going to turn this whole part into a vertex because this is actually behind that object. So that's why I'm going to move this way out here. I'm going to go into my vertice view. Vertice view. That's funny. I'm going to, after I change this where it's kind of like a, I guess it's kind of like a rhombus shape, I don't know. I'm just going to start extruding the edge. I'm going to extrude it once right here. I'm going to press G. I'm going to extrude it here. I'm going to press G. I'm going to extrude it here. And right here I'm actually going to just make it come straight down. Then I'm going to press G. Sorry. Might need to pull that back just a little bit. And I'm actually going to extrude it one more time right about here. So this is the basic shape of the frame. I do mean the very, very basic shape of the frame. Let's go ahead and just select all of those. We're just going to move them into place. Something about right there, I'm thinking. So now with the edges, we'll just start clicking on these. And now we can just start manipulating everything. Let's go ahead and pull them all out and make sure. Okay, good. So I'm just going to pull these out right about here. I actually need to, I'm going to be going back and forth between X-ray mode. So I'm going to move that one right about there. I'll probably need to pull that in just a little bit. And then this one, don't want it out that far. So I'm thinking right about there. Now these I will pull out a little bit, probably something like that. And then these right here will come over, probably something like that, I'm thinking. So nothing protrudes out. As you can see, when we're looking, okay, this is going to get difficult very quick. I think that's what we need to do. The first thing we probably should do is we need to parent these objects. So I need to try and remember how to do this. So now, okay, so the object you select second will be the primary parent. So what I want to do is I want to select all of this in the mirror, and then I will select the door and press P. So now when I select all of this, this is all parented. Next thing I want to do is I actually want to, you bastard. You bastard. Click on the mirror real quick. I'm actually going to separate these out. Hopefully I can still come in here. Okay, I need to go to, I think it's under Edit, and it's, no, it's not under Edit. What is it? Modify, maybe? See, this is how often I do the parent, as I don't remember unparent, so it's just Shift P. So, got that, we got that. Okay, so I need to Shift P. Right here, Shift P. P. Yay, transform nodes. I'm going to get rid of those. Okay, so alright, so what I need to do is I actually need to middle mouse drag this one up here, click on this, and middle mouse drag this one in here. So now when I click on that, that's how you can do that. If you have this weird issue, just go in here and just go into Windows, Rendering, Hypershade. You can just simply assign the Lambert material to it. Like that. So, not very difficult. Next thing I want to do is I actually want to come in here and click Insert, and this will change my pivot. I'm going to set the pivot right about here. So now when I open the door, this is what we have. So, that easy. So I'm going to go down here into Edge. I'm just going to move these over a little bit closer. Something about like that. So then, when I click on this door, let me go ahead and go back to that and close the door. Now you should be able to come up here and look, and you shouldn't be able to see anything, and you don't. Good. Alright, awesome. Guess I could duplicate this over. Oops. Control G, Control Shift D. Yeah, that actually works out really well, so I'm going to do it that way. That's why I got all my pivot points and everything already selected on that object. Just hit delete. Let's see, where's my group? Right here. So I'm just going to move that at 0. There we go. And now when I click on the door, I still have the pivot selected in the same spot, so it opens like the other one does. Gorgeous. And we can also do the same thing with the back door too. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'm just going to start selecting all this. I'm just going to hit delete. Then come in here. I don't want that one. Select all of this. Or actually, no, something I do want to do real quick before it escapes me. I'm going to add a few edge loops to this. Yeah, there we go. So. Okay, let's go in here real quick. We'll hit insert, remove this. I'm going to move this probably right about here. There we go. So now when we open the door, we have that. I think I'm actually going to bring this out a little bit more. I want to bring it out, or I want to bring it in. Probably want to bring it out. So now when I do this, there we go. That's better. That opens a little bit better. Okay, that's better. I'm happy with that. So we'll just hit Control G, Control Shift D, and now when we click on this one, and we click on this one, they both should open the same. So there we go. Control S. Alright, so let's go ahead and open the doors. And if you're wondering, yes, these doors really open that wide. I do not know which car manufacturer you have to thank for that. I know it's one of them, I just don't know which one. Actually, I'm just going to start with this one. I'm going to go ahead and hit the extrude button. Probably right about there. Go. It's free real estate. Go in here real quick. Okay, that looks good. So basically all I'm doing right now is just trying to follow these edges. Nothing very spectacular at all. And if you notice, I'm actually starting to kind of like pull these down a little bit. The only reason for that is so this way it all kind of like matches up. I'm just going to kind of like tuck that behind there. And this one, I'm going to do something very similar. Once I get it right about here, though, I am going to rotate it. So this way I can just continue going on down. And right about here, I'm going to rotate it again. I'm not rotating it any specific number or anything. I'm just rotating it to rotate it. And right here, I'm going to make it flat. I'm going to make it wide, or wider. So come in here, continue going. Just continue on down. Make this a little bit wider down here, just because I can, because I want to. Probably going to stop it right about here. So I need to go in here into face. I'm going to delete that. Go into vertex. I'm going to go ahead and merge these two. And I already know that's going to give me a really weird result. Actually, instead of merging them, I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to edge, move this up just a little bit. I'm going to click on this tool and just basically bridge these two together. So now is what I need to do. Let's go in here to vertex. I'm just going to start working these out. So something kind of like this. I got a feeling the dogs are going to start barking here in just a little bit. Yay me. So all I'm doing is just trying to work these over where they start matching up with right here. Once they start matching up, then I just kind of like bring them out a little bit. I probably went in a little too far, but you know what? Lol. And we'll probably come back in here and manipulate these a little bit more later on. Right now I'm just trying to get like a general shape. That's really it. It's really just something to kind of like more or less hide these imperfections. Or I say imperfections, I mean the gaps. So now when we click on this door and we say 0, click on this door and say the same thing, 0. As you can see now, we don't have the door gaps like we did before. I mean, we still got that one, yeah, but you know, we don't have the others. We still got some door gaps down here, Jimmy. So let me go into the side view to see what's going on. Ah, that's what's going on. Okay, that's actually very easily fixable. And boom. So there we go. I'm going to pull these back right here. Something like that, I'm thinking. The rest of this should be hidden well enough. I'm going to pull this one down just a little bit, just in case. So I'm going to go into Edge. And let's go ahead and start working on this front gap. We'll go ahead and hit Extrude. I'm going to move this right here. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it. I'm going to press G on the keyboard. Just start working my way on up. And something like that, I'm thinking. Probably where I'll just kind of like make it stop. Just make it stop. All I'm going to do is just start moving these in, probably right about here. So then we have that, and come in here real quick. Yeah, so see, all this already kind of lines up pretty well. I'm going to move this one out just a little bit. Do the same thing with this one down here. This one I'm going to move in, and this one I'm going to move out. Does that protrude through? No, it does not, so that all looks good. So that's how I hide the door gaps. And see, now that actually looks like a solid object. So I'm going to open this door real quick. I'm actually going to open both these doors. I'm going to want them open quite a bit, so that's why I have plenty of room to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to click on Edge. Why did it do that? Oh, that's why I did that. So I'm going to click on this edge. I'm going to hold down Control Shift. I'm just going to double click there. So I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Extrude. Going to extrude just a little bit. I'll press G, extrude a little bit more, press G, and extrude one more time. About like that. This one I'm going to do the same thing. And the first extrusion is very, very small amount. Extrude a little bit more, then I'm going to extrude one more time, about like that. So now when I press 3, I should have this general shape. If I click on the doors and close them, let's turn off this view and see what we get. So, as you can see, that actually hides it all very well. Have a little bit of something. Let me go ahead and open this door again. Ah, yes, right there. So I'm just going to select those three. I'm just going to pull them down just a little bit. So, turn that off. This is our basic frame. And that's pretty much how you do it. I mean, not much. Whoa! It's a scissor door. There we go. So, now no matter where you're looking, you cannot see past the gap. So, that's the frame. That's how easy it is. Just open that up real quick. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to hit Control G, Control Shift D. Now the other side has it. Everybody is happy. Why do I keep doing that? Control S. There we go. So, yeah, that's how you get rid of the door gaps, and we got rid of the holes and things like that in the front. We're going to do a little bit more on this too, because obviously right now you can look underneath and be like, yeah, that looks accurate. I'm like, the rest of it looks great. I'm like, it's actually starting to look like what you expect a car to look like. But there are still some things like, we're going to have some gaps right in here that we still have to cover up, and we're actually going to do that with like a motor and stuff like that. Nothing too complicated. But still have a slight gap right here. We'll fix that later on. But until next time, I shall see y'all later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. If you hated it, don't forget to dislike. Don't subscribe. Comment how much you hated it. Until next time, YouTube, I shall see you then.